Hello and welcome to Stat 385, Statistical Programming Methods. I am Daniel Eck, I'm the course instructor. This is the fall 2025 semester. All right, so this is our website where your operations for this class will be conducted, course materials will be accessible, stuff like that. You should have received a link to this website in either an email or through Canvas. Either way, you are here, we are here, I am here. Okay, this is an asynchronous course. I've taught it quite a few times and I'm excited to teach it again. I like programming and data analysis. I'm an applied statistician, and so I actually live remote, and so yeah. All right, so let's get going. So yes, welcome to the class. To the fall 2025 semester of Stat 385. So this class is an introduction class for people pursuing a bachelor's of science in statistics or other students who are just broadly interested in data science. We hope to do a few things, mostly introduce the students without a strong technical background to core concepts in computing and programming. Again, it's an introduction class. And apply computing and programming concepts to data applications through the use of the R programming language. R is a programming language that is for statisticians by statisticians. I use it quite a bit, and rather this concept is something that I use quite a bit as well. I am an applied statistician. I work in sports statistics, forecasting problems, evolutionary biology problems. Most of what I do is at the intersection of statistics and something else, either science or sports. And so being good at R is it's a necessity for what I do in terms of doing, data analyses, managing data sets and stuff like that. But it's also a necessity broader than that. I work to, like my baseball research is inventing or discovering new methods to, analyze baseball data. And in the discovery process, I need to be able to ask and answer questions. And R is the programming language that I use to do that. So this is very fundamental to my research. So when I say I'm excited to teach this class, I do mean it. It is stuff that you will learn in this class is stuff that I use quite a bit. All right. All course information, or almost all course information, can be found on this website. And we will use 4 different external sites. Ed will be our discussion forum. We'll get into this in more detail as we go. This is our welcome video. Typically, as we go through the weeks, the welcome videos will be short and kind of like, high-level summaries of what we're going to do. This one's going to be long because we're welcoming you to the entire class as well as going over the syllabus. Okay, so back to where we are. 4 additional external sites. Ed, which is a discussion forum. And, this is going to go to my page, but for you may have to fill out some materials. Hey, look, there's Stat 385. That's the discussion forum now. Pretty blank for now. Discussion forum guidelines, which we'll get into. And then I'll have an introduction post. And you can see here, Stat 385, Stat 385, Stat 385. I like Ed. It's a nice way for us to communicate, especially this asynchronous format. Generally speaking, people engage with Ed quite a bit during the semester, and I expect this class to be no different. It's a great place. We'll be using Prairie Learn for quizzes, labs. These are your assessments, weekly assessments and exams. Okay, and Prairie Test, which is going to be built out of Prairie Learn, which will actually implement the exams, and then Canvas for project grades. Okay, most of this class is going to run via Prairie Learn, Prairie Test, autograders. Okay, additional information, everything can be found in the syllabus, which we will go over. So this is the landing page for the course, and then here's a link to navigate to the current week. The current week is week 1. Fall semester 2025. You are here, we are here. Welcome in syllabus. All right, so so learning objectives. So after completing this week, we're expected to be able to understand the syllabus of the course. This is going to be our primary objective of the week. Understand the objectives of the course. Okay. I guess both of these are primary objective. And then understand how to communicate with course staff. Use R&R Studio to produce code. These are all primary objectives. I don't know what I was saying for the first one. And then use Prairie Learn to complete labs and quizzes, which we'll get into. So, right. Typical for each of the weeks, we will have a set of reading, So here, syllabus is the main thing from the course website. You can click these links, just goes back. Here's the syllabus. Open link in new tab, goes to syllabus, great. And you can see here that there's this bar at the top, also syllabus. Nice, goes to the same place. Okay, cool. And then directed readings for specific topics. Generally speaking, the goal for selected readings is that you will go over them quickly on your own time, skim it, and then watch videos, and then go over it again with a more detailed read, which I think really helps gain knowledge in an effective manner. Here, probably, I don't have specifics on computing setup getting started, so go through it. This will go to R, how to install packages, stuff like that, and then just general getting started with the course programming languages, R and RStudio in particular. Okay, cool. And then below readings, we'll have a set of videos. Welcome in syllabus. This is literally the video you're watching right now. Here it is. And then I will go through in week 1, I'll go through the first lab and the first quiz. These are labeled as 0-0. Technically, this is week 1, but these are practice. They aren't for any grades, but they are. I think that they're important to go through so you can get used to how Prairie Learn works in a low stakes, actually a no stakes environment, because there's no grades. Questions will be easy. They'll just cover the syllabus. And then in this week, we have 3 additional videos graciously provided to us by Professor David Dalviez. He's a colleague and a friend. Used to be a stat professor, now he's in CS. I work with David Dalviez quite a bit on all kinds of things from mentorship to research. So he has an extended syllabus video, which is, I guess, life lessons and how to navigate living during a semester. I watch his videos, and at first I was like, what is this extended syllabus video? And I watched it, and I actually came away with a lot of interesting tidbits that I have since integrated in my own real life for functioning during a semester. So great, thank you. Computing setup, good stuff. Okay, labs, quiz. So typically speaking, these would be for credit. Here they are not, but you can go through and go to the links. Okay, so I'm in staff tab. You'll be student view. Student view doesn't work because I'm recording this video before the start of the semester. So here we go. And then this will take you to the questions, which I will go through in a video, but this is just Prairie Learn. Cool. All right, so office hours. We won't have office hours this week. Sign up for Ed, check your emails for the access link. Okay. All right, so this is a landing page. This is how it typically goes. In this video, we will go over the syllabus. So, ran out of space in this week's page. So I guess syllabus time. All right. I should say before we get into this, yes, this is an asynchronous class. This will be our lecture is a video that I have recorded, and I should say that I will use videos from the past. My general video policy is I will watch videos from previous semesters and determine if I think the content is good. And what I mean by good is sort of a flexible concept. There's always things that I can improve in a video. There's always things that you can always improve, and you can always spend more time to make things more perfect. The thing is that when I record a video, if you have not recorded a video before, it is a surprisingly difficult thing to do. And so when you go through the process of recording, you may, then you go through, you record your lecture, and then, you may watch it again and be like, I could have done something a little bit better. But I have gone through this where I then re-record and I focus on that one thing to do better. And then I often will miss something that I did well the first time. So when I rewatch videos of myself giving a lecture, which is a strange experience, I will see, like, is this video satisfactory? And then if so, I will use it. I will also re-record videos, even if I think they're satisfactory, just to go through course material again on stuff, particularly if I'm want to keep fresh on a coding topic that is relevant to my research. So yeah, I mean, I'm an applied statistician. I like teaching this class. I like using this stuff. I like R quite a bit. Okay, anyways, keep saying the same things over again. The syllabus. All right, so this is the syllabus page. I got to it from the website. Right, Stat385, statistical programming methods, S2 online. It's online and asynchronous. Office hours and exams will be remote and synchronous. Yes, okay, location, wherever you are. That's cool, right? You do this wherever you want. Time, mostly whenever you like. I mean, you do have to do stuff, so time can't just be never. There will be exams, and those would be scheduled. There will be office hours, which would be scheduled. However, in this class, I'm happy to say we have a lot of office hours options. Right, and that actually is a good transition. So, course staff instructor, I am Daniel J. Eck. Hello, yet again. Right, and you can email me, and you can see office hours below. Here, I do not have a teaching assistant. However, I do have an army of course assistants. David, Tiffany, Maggie, Varad, Allison, and Noah. And this will link to their office hours, so you can see their office hours. We'll get into that in a little bit, very soon. Okay, so course description. Statisticians must be savvy in programming methods, useful to the wide variety of analysis that would be expected to perform. Yes, statistics is very fundamentally a data-driven profession, and so at the base of that would be data, and then manipulating data, where programming comes in the handy. I mean, it's a mindset that I subscribe to. I'm an applied statistician, so yes. Textbook. Okay, we will use the main textbook is Atomic R. Thank you again, Professor David Dalpiez. It's a good textbook. I really like it. Yeah, let me just, let me go back. Okay, so, right, so this is, so in the reading list, you can see here, I have computing setup, getting started. These are both linked chapters within Atomic R by David Dalpiez. And that's kind of typically how it would go. The readings will link to specific chapters within the course textbook. Okay, so we're trying to be as organized as possible, which is necessary for an asynchronous online course. It does have these courses have their advantages. You can rewatch these videos, things will be linked. And then the disadvantages are you have to stay on top of logistics, like the syllabus, for instance. But I've now taught over 500 students via this type of implementation, and it's not usually a problem. I would say it ends up being net easier to engage with, I think, than an in-person version of this for this type of material. So I think it's Prairie Learn is or auto grading and asynchronous videos for this type of class, for an introduction program class, is something that I am a supporter of. Okay, now we also have a significant set of additional reading materials. It looks very daunting. I guess you could say it is quite daunting. This is not cover to cover reading. Maybe specific sections of these books will be assigned as reading materials. They're usually quite short. They're actually, it's not too bad. You can think of this also as a carefully curated set of additional references that you can take with you beyond this class. Some of these things are things that I use actually, quite a bit. Still, like I like dbar programming. I like happy git and GitHub for the use R. I like efficient R programming. So these are things that are nice resources, carefully curated. And to the extent that these resources will be mentioned or assigned as readings in this class, specific chapters will be indexed accordingly. These are also extremely useful. I would say, I don't like the order of this, but the R manuals, very, very, very useful, but also very, very older style, I would say, before RStudio and this set of resources existed, there was writing R extensions or writing extensions with R for software development using the R programming language. Very steep learning curve, not made particularly easy. That's what I had to read when I was a graduate student. It is If you master the learning curve, it is extraordinary. It's extremely useful, but that's not what we're going to be doing. However, it is kind of like the source material for our studio cheat sheets. This is more of what we're going to be doing. And I like these quite a bit too. It's just like short little snippets of things that you can do with our studio. Particularly, we'll reference them when you're when we motivate, when we go on and do tidyverse stuff. Half this class will be base R, half will be tidyverse. Okay, I'm jumping ahead. Actually, the website does contain the topics that we'll cover. So introduction, welcome, and then base R, and then tidy data. Cheat sheets will be provided here. I use them quite a bit. They're awesome. I like them. All right. Course communication. Yeah. Check your email account. I'll typically message you all on Monday mornings to say that course material has been posted. Typically, I'll try to do that by 10 a.m. If it's later, I may have something come up, so it may be a little bit later. But Mondays is when you should hear from me, and all material for the week will be posted. Okay, now for you to communicate with me, there's 3 channels listed in order. Office hours. This is where you would go to meet with somebody. I mean, async or remote, but meet with somebody live to get your specific question asked and answered in a way that is suitable to you in the allotted time of the office hours. We have plenty of office hours, plenty of people in this class, plenty of assistants for this class that will be helpful. And then below that is discussion forum ed, where you can post your code. We'll get into this in more detail. Office hours, great. It's the top listed option here. I would say this is, instead of 1, 2, maybe 1A, 1B. Ed is very good too. And then 3 last is email. I think these other 2, office hours and discussion forum, for specific class related class materials questions, office hours and discussion forum are much preferred. For stuff like I need to make up an exam, or I had something come up and I don't know if I can get course material answered or my assessments answered in time, those are things for email. So it's slightly different, these different channels for the things that you should ask. Okay, office hours. Office hours will be held online via Zoom. Everything is listed in Champaign local time. Okay, so we have office hours Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, or early evening, I guess. Office hours on Wednesday afternoon, and then throughout the day on Thursday. And of course, discussion forum anytime. So course assessments will be due on Thursday. If you want to get an early jump, come to office hours on Tuesday. Come to office hours on Wednesday, and there's 3 slots available on Thursday. Okay, so plenty of office hours in this class. These will have Zoom links. You can click them, and they will go to your course assistant's office hours. Right, awesome. So there's a lot of people. Everyone here is different. So your course assistants are students as well, so they may have conflicts come up or interviews for jobs or stuff like that. So there may be conflicts. These may change, and we'll communicate that in our weekly updates to the best of our abilities. If there is a change, if it's after the weekly video that I record, then I will let you know via email. Again, if I go to the week 1 page, I have a section at the end for office hours, and so that's where I will list updates. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, and then content about office hours here. When joining office hours, be prepared to share your screen. Yeah, so you'll have to be able to show us your problem. For office hours, this is a more the merrier type thing. If you're here and other people are here, I mean, my policy is, people first come, first serve. But if you're there, hang out, because very, very often, several people have the exact same question. And so you can, participate or you can listen to your classmates and, learn and perhaps have your question answered by them. Usually happens. It's usually very, very common to have multiple people have the exact same question. I would recommend just showing up in office hours. One of the feedback things that I get from this class is people saying that office hours, they're surprised. The people who go say, like, I don't know why more people weren't in office hours. They were very helpful. Thank you to those people for saying that. I like that. All right, discussion forum. This is likely, office hours are, if you've taken a college class before, then office hours are fairly typical. You kind of know what that is. Here, the only differences maybe is that they're online remote. Ed might be completely new. This is a specific feature of this asynchronous class. Ed is great. You can just post questions on Ed. Let me just go to it. You can see here, you can create a new thread on Ed. Pretty cool. So like this is a thread that I created. There's code box here to run things, and you can display your code and ask questions. Here, a few high-level things. This is more, right here is more of logistics. I just want to say that with Ed, if you have a question, do not hesitate to ask it. And if you're a student who wants to answer questions, do not hesitate to answer them. In this class, there is no such thing as oversharing. If you are answering a question, if you are asking a question, you can ask whatever, if it's related to the class, of course. And as students, you can answer whatever. There is no oversharing. If you are worried about is this cheating? Is this plagiarism? Am I asking the question in a way where it seems like this is cheating? I'm saying right now, it is not. Fine. And if there's any dispute, reference this video. Where are we at? I'm at about the 22-minute mark. Find it here, reference it, send it to me, use a YouTube trimmer or whatever. Be like, Professor Eck, you said that there is no cheating for oversharing code. Yes, that's what I'm saying. I will not forget it. I say it every time. Email policy. I will follow a strict email policy. You must have an Illinois email address. Your subject line must begin exactly with the following: bracket stat385 with a space. And you must have a useful but short description of your message. And if you'd like to email me, consider the following. Is your question about course administration? If so, have you read the syllabus? If your question is easily answerable in the syllabus, we will either refer you to the syllabus or ignore your emails. I will do this. If it's a syllabus question, you just may not get a response. Is your question about part of an assignment? First and foremost, ask it in office hours or Ed. They're both good. After that, consider the discussion. Oh yeah, okay. Consider the discussion board. Right. So I may redirect you to the discussion board or to office hours with an email. But if you have things that you need to ask, like I need to schedule a conflict for my exam, then do that. And as time goes on, I will make that clear in the weekly videos to make sure to email me with your conflict request. If you're taking Stat 410 with Professor Stefanov, you will need to schedule a conflict. And we will discuss that as we go. Okay, so here's some examples. This is a good email subject line, Stat 385 with a space. Right, it's not stats, it's stats. That's the code that the university uses for our departments. It's all caps, space 385. Great, I have a grade feedback question. Okay, great. This is a good subject line. This is not, it's in proper format, non-descriptive. This one doesn't have a space. This one, I guess you can say bad format. There's no space here after the brackets. When is the exam? This is a long title and the information's in the syllabus. Okay. I will try to respond to your emails in 48 hours. So if you email me at the end of Wednesday or between Monday and Wednesday, then there is a very, very, very good chance that you will get a response by the week. Okay, code discussion. Right, so code discussion, most of this, okay. Oh, yeah. Before I get into redirecting this video back to Ed or office hours, first and foremost, ask Google or a search engine, whatever, your coding question. I should, and I'm gonna pause this right here and say that I understand that large language models are very much a thing that could be good at answering coding questions, especially in this type of class. I would, I can't enforce you not using them, but I can say that I would only use them as a last resort, because I think it is very important to build, to the best of your ability, to build a strong, solid foundation with these introductory coding concepts. If for no other reason than to be better at using large language models from an understanding of how the programming language that you're working with actually thinks and works. This is my mindset for large language models in real life. I do use them from time to time, but I've spent years developing a solid foundation in R programming. And so because I have, I talk to my students all the time at very varying levels, from intro undergrad to about to graduate with their PhD. And I see how they use large language models, and I am oftentimes unimpressed and can see how they run into circles because they don't understand the foundations of the programming language yet. So yes, go to Google first, or a search engine, and try to read others who have asked or answered your question first before you go to course staff. And then eventually, go to course staff, go to office hours, go to the discussion forum. Okay. If you need to ask the course staff or discussion forum, you need to provide all the code that is required to recreate the error. Staff or fellow students should be able to run your code without any modification and obtain the same error on output, and the exact error messages should be received. Do not use screenshots. Posts containing screenshots of code will likely be deleted. If there is an error message that you're not sure about, then that's an exception. But code, I do have a lot of experience with R, but I'm not able to read and run your code in my head. I can if it's something basic, but I, as course policy, I will not be doing that. So you need to, again, provide all code that's required to recreate the error. And then anybody who sees this code should be able to run it and produce the exact same error message. Okay. Course staff emails. Okay. Again, before I go on, in this code, for everything except exams, we greatly prefer oversharing to undersharing code. If you are answering a student's question, overshare. Don't care. Again, if you missed it earlier at the 22-minute mark where I said this, I'm now saying it again about the 28-minute mark, and it's highlighted, so you can overshare. Okay. Course staff emails. The grading is going to be done via Prairie Learn. I know that I have an extensive army now of course assistants for office hours and eventually for proctoring exams and grading finals, but your assessments are going to be graded automatically through Prairie Learn. And so I will be overseeing Prairie Learn. And so I'm really the only person you need to email about course materials and grading and stuff like that. Okay. Assessments. We will use 4 types of assessments throughout this class. Breakdown of grades will be later. Quizzes, labs, exams, and project. No final exam, just 2 midterm exams. With the exception of exams and projects, all course assignments are due at 11:59 p.m. Central Champaign time. Quizzes and labs both due on Thursdays. And labs will have a walkthrough video for the week. Okay. There'll be 8 labs, mostly administered through Prairie Learn. If not, then I'll let you know. You can see more information on lab policy here. Okay. And this is all like from the website. Here's the top bar. There's labs, there's exams, there's project, there's quizzes, there's your book, and there's home. Okay, quizzes, same idea. There's gonna be 8 quizzes administered through Prairie Learn. Okay, these ones will not have a walkthrough video. Well, actually, there will be one for this practice quiz that has no points for this week. Quiz policy, see it here. And I'll get into this more in the specific quiz video, but quizzes will have an interesting grading system where, okay, so let me go to, so quiz 1 will be due on September 11th. Okay, so if you do it by September 11th, then you'll get 105% credit. And if you complete it by September 18th, you'll get 100%, and then it, declines from there. You cannot score more than 100% in this class. And so what this 5% does is it just hangs out and will offset and be used to offset part of your quiz grade later. So the course material, this is an introduction class, and it's going to, compound as we go. Exams, for instance, will be cumulative. And so in some sense, the quizzes get harder, I guess. I mean, if you're a basic, if you have programming experience, the quizzes will get harder, I think. If you don't have programming experience, then the quizzes will stay probably about the same. They may take more time as we go, but they may not be, technically harder. There is no prior programming experience required for this class. This is the introduction class. So do not feel afraid if you do not have programming experience, because this class is set up for you. Right. So anyways, long story short, stay on top of the class early, build in these buffer points because you have a lot of time to do them. So if I go back, okay, I have multiple tabs open. Go home, go to week 1. Right, this is like August 25th. Next week, week 2, I don't think it's, it's not, the page isn't up. Next week, week 2, quiz 1 will be assigned, and you have until September 11th to complete it, and it won't be, you'll have enough time to get 105%. Anyways, sorry, I'm like lingering on this for a very long time. Okay. Syllabus. Code discussion, quizzes, exams. There'll be 2 exams administered through Prairie Learn, Prairie Test, and proctored via Zoom. Exam policy there. Project. Actually, let's go to this. Your exams are October 9th in the evening and November 20th in the evening, and then 2 conflict slots. If you're taking it with Professor Stefanov, you will absolutely need a conflict. And so you can email me to request that. Not a problem. Hasn't been a problem in the past. Everybody's able to take the exam. We have ample course staff to proctor these conflicts, or if this conflict if these options don't work, it will be fine. It has been fine. With an asynchronous online setup and remote proctoring, things are a little bit difficult. We'll get into it as we go. We don't need to be it here. Long story short, again, 500 students have taken this, and we haven't had very many, really any logistic issues. The only issues we have is where people don't schedule a conflict and have to choose between my class or Stat 410 for the exam that they take. And that's only happened once. Okay, so projects. You'll build a shiny application, something that you can take with you. If you're particularly pleased with your final project, then you can post it on your own website or GitHub, profile, or LinkedIn or something. Okay. More on this, of course, as we go. Here's our general schedule. Right. So deadlines. So again, lab 1, quiz 1 due Thursday. And then here, what it says that recall that the listed deadlines for the quizzes are for 105% credit. So again, quiz 1, this is to get 105. If you do it a week later, you still get 100. Awesome. But you can see material will come in. Okay, so course technology. R and RStudio absolutely required. They're free. Current version of R at the time that this was written is 4.5.0 and maybe 4.5.1 now. Oh man, I need to get the new version. It's fine. RStudio, this is how we're going to interface with R. I think, yeah, I have it open right here. Generally looks something like this. You can move the panels around. Very, very nice. R by itself is just this, the console here. This allows you to sketch code. So I take the object 6, the number object 6, assign the name X, appears my global environment, and we call it cool. I can also use it as a calculator. We'll go over this stuff. All right, but anyways, I can sketch code here and I can run it here. I can see where I'm at and where the files I have open. I can see the things I've created in R. Very nice. RStudio is a great tool. It is something that did not exist when I was a graduate student, or actually, maybe it did. It was just very bad. Again, you don't need to know this. Nobody cares about what it was like, a billion years ago. But I should say that the reason why I bring that up is because the people who make RStudio are constantly improving it. It was something that was quite bad when I was in graduate school, but now it is something that is quite good. I like RStudio quite a bit. Unusable when I was a grad student. Now it's just so nice. So nice to the point where it wouldn't even make sense to teach this class without it. Okay. Learning management. We discussed this on the website landing page. Discussion forum, Prairie Learn, Prairie Test. Prairie Learn is most operations. Prairie Test is just kind of an extension of Prairie Learn for exams. And then Canvas is where final project grades would be. Okay. Probably kind of deep into the syllabus, but here we go for the weights of the assessments. Quizzes will be 40. Actually, let's start with lab. Lab will be 10%. I ask, and I'll say this in the video. I will ask that you attempt to do the lab. You should think of it as absolutely no stakes. You get as many repeats until it's due. Time you out, and we'll go over this in the videos, and you'll see it. But essentially, you should think of this as free points. I will also have a video where I go over it, and I recommend doing it by yourself and then watching the video to see how I do it, so that you can kind of compare and learn and grow. And then quizzes assigned the same time as labs. That'll be 40% of your grade. It's like lab; they'll just be like a little bit more involved, but it's the same idea. You're going to get like multiple attempts. Your grade will only go up as you complete things, and through Prairie Learn, feedback will be provided to you, and partial credit will be given. So it's nice. It's a nice setup. You have 2 exams. These will be remote at times, proctored by me and your course assistants. I should say, I talked about large language models before. They are banned on exams, so make sure you actually do use them as a last resort. I'm not trying to be difficult. I understand that they are useful, but it will, in the long run, if you are, aspiring to be a data scientist, then building some level of a knowledge base for the programming language that you're going to use is going to be, or just any programming language is going to be absolutely essential. And this is the place to do it because it's an introduction class. Okay. All right, and then final project is only 10%, which is probably lower than in other classes. This would be like a bare bones Shiny app that we were required with a lot of functionality, but nothing too major. A lot of data scientists I know, they build applications, like Shiny applications inside of companies. Create like widgets and tools for other people. Data analysts or whoever stakeholders to use, and so you'll get some experience with that. So this is something that is, will use the programming concepts built up to it in a way that is useful and modern, and you can take it with you. Okay, grading scale, pretty standard stuff. I will say that not a lot of wiggle room between A+ and A, but with the way that the class is set up, with labs and quizzes being like infinite attempts, well, not infinite because takes time to do it, and they're due, but you can think of it as functionally infinite attempts. And with buffer points and quizzes, that part of your grade is handled. Final project will have, let me go to the policy page. It is a rubric of functionality, not of an arbitrary assessment of whether or not your app is interesting. So long story short, if you check off this rubric, then you get the points. So then the only thing is exams. And in this class, the exams are thought out to be if you are doing well and you're not, blind to a large language model, then the exams are meant to be. This is an introduction class, and we're not trying to weed you out. Okay, so you can do it. You can get, right, so here are the cutoffs for grades and so on. Okay, grade disputes. If 1 week from your date, you received it to discuss it with me, the instructor. Things are automatically implemented on Prairie Learn. The Prairie Learn system was originally developed. Okay, so a little bit of history. I developed Stat385 with Chris Kinson. David Dalpiaz took it over and built this Prairie Learn implementation. We've been doing this now for 5 different semesters, over 1,000 students. The Prairie Learn autograder is nearly I think it's undefeated. Okay, I mean, you can dispute, but the odds are against you. And then other things. Okay, changes. I reserve the right to make any changes. I will announce them. I should say, I can change the grading scale. I will never change it in a way that is that is harder. It can only be made easier. That's it. I will say that up front. Okay. Extended syllabus from David Dalpiaz. Oh, well, okay, broken link. It's supposed to just go to that YouTube video or class videos. Okay. All right, I'm trying to think. Last minute. Yeah, this is a long week video. Typically, there'll be 5 minutes and be high level. This one, we went over the syllabus. All right. Great. I will see you in the next sequence of videos in lab and quiz. Videos will be available on YouTube and class transcribe. All right. So I'll see you through the semester. I will see you in office hours and answer your questions on Ed. Right now, Ed is still being built, but I'll have an introduction thread. Feel free to introduce yourself and say hello. I'll provide some fun facts about myself, like which music I like and stuff like that. Feel free to comment on that and say you listen to really old music or something like that. I don't know. Debate me in the comments. I don't know. Meant to be fun. Let's all introduce yourselves on Ed and say hello, and let's have I'll end it with this, saying that this is an asynchronous class. Yes, you are aware that you are watching this video. But this is meant to be a team environment, us versus the material. So feel free to come and, hang out on Ed, come to office hours. You stay active on top of your labs quizzes. It's going to be a great semester, and I am excited to see you learn R. And I should say that, this Prairie Learn system, this asynchronous system, I've had students come through it and then take my more advanced R programming classes. And the students are prepared, especially on the Shiny end and building functionality through this project rubric that we have. So yeah, I'm a believer of the R programming language. I'm an applied statistician, and I'm a believer of this asynchronous class setup, and I'm excited for this semester. All right, I will see you throughout the semester. All right, take care. Bye.